Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, prepare yourselves as we delve deep into Tejano music, its history, its future. You will hear the oldies but goodies, the newies but gooies, and everything in between. My name is Rick Garcia, and I will be your host on this 60-minute musical journey. So let's hear all the great songs by the great artists who made them famous, and a little bit of history behind each song. After all, I was there. Well, greetings, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Rick Garcia, and welcome to a brand new edition of the Rick Garcia Hour right here on Mas Chingon Radio, MCR. That's what it's all about. Again, I want to thank the good people who have written in and complimented the show. And for those of you who wrote in and did not have compliments, well, I guess thank you anyway. You can't please everybody, so I guess you've just got to please yourself. My hat is off to the good people at Mas Chingon Radio for allowing me to do just that. Talk about my history and my stories for the past 5 decades. So we're going to hear about Tejano music, conjunto music, and we're going to actually take a couple of little diverse roads this week through the journey down some country music, some pop music, and some other areas that my journeys have taken me through. And I've enjoyed each and every moment that I have been in this business. I want to start out first by congratulating a young lady. She is on CHR Records, and I recently saw a lot of videos posted by her as she performed in Las Vegas at the Tejano Showcase. I'm talking about Miss Veronique Medrano, very talented singer and of course Tejano and conjunto activist as well. It pleased me to no end to see her performing songs off of her brand new CHR album Loteria, and so I'd like to begin this show with one of the songs that she sang during her tenure there in Las Vegas. And it's also a classic song that will live forever. It's from her CHR album Loteria. This song is called Sabor a Mí.
Tanto tiempo disfrutamos de este amor, nuestras almas se acercaron, tanto así que yo guardo tu sabor, pero tú llevas también sabor a mí. Si negaras mi presencia en tu vivir, bastaría con abrazarte y conversar. Tanta vida yo te di que por fuerza tienes ya sabor a mí. No pretendo ser tu dueña, no soy nada, yo no tengo vanidad de mi vida, doy lo bueno, soy tan pobre que otra cosa puedo dar. Pasarán más de 1000 años, muchos más, yo no sé si tengamos la eternidad, pero allá tal como aquí, en la boca llevarás sabor a mí. No pretendo ser tu dueña, no soy nada, yo no tengo vanidad de mi vida, doy lo bueno, soy tan pobre que otra cosa puedo dar. Pasarán más de 1000 años, muchos más, yo no sé si tengamos la eternidad, pero allá tal como aquí, en la boca llevarás sabor a mí, sabor a mí, sabor a mí.
The lovely, the talented Miss Veronique Medrano from her CHR CD Loteria. That was Sabor a Mí. What a great song. Pretty much anybody who's as old as I am, and that's pretty darn old, remembers that song by Eddie Gourmet, Y Trio Los Panchos. What a great rendition they had of that song. Beautiful bolero. You know what? Songs are that pretty, they just don't die. They reinvent themselves. Veronique Medrano did a great job with that one. I want to go ahead and mention it while it's fresh on my mind, that if you're enjoying the music of the CHR recording artists like Veronique Medrano, Los Marceles, Los Cucuys, Hilda Lamas, Marlisa Vela, and others, be sure to check out their products at Tejano Music Center, located at 704 West Shaw Avenue in Pasadena, Texas, up and around the Houston area. And if you don't happen to live there, it certainly is worth the drive. They've got CDs, DVDs, merchandise, collectibles. I went to their website and saw a lot of cool things. So check out Tejano Music Center. Pick up your latest CHR artists, as well as all the many other great items they have there from all the other great record labels representing Tejano and Conjunto music. We're going to reach back a little bit now. Going to go way back to the dawn of the Hacienda era, reaching back to the year about 1979. For those who don't know, the very first recording artist to release an album on Hacienda Records was Esteban Ordan, Steve Jordan. What a talent he was. I had met him and worked with him before at Freddie Records, and we had also been involved in a lot of other projects with Falcon Records, El Parche Records, Discos ARV. As a youngster, I don't really remember that much about the many different labels. I was more just about the recording of the artist. It wasn't until Hacienda that I actually got involved with the record labels and the functions and duties of the record labels. But Steve Jordan was the first for Hacienda, and it resulted in a lot of great recordings. The very first album was entitled Ahorita, and one of the songs off that album was called Si Te Portas Mal. Now, Jay Pettis did a cover version of it way later, and I think some other artists have also covered it. So Steve Jordan, to my knowledge, was the first guy that did it in Spanish. But did you know that even before that, it was an English song called You'll Never Get to Heaven If You Break My Heart? And it was a hit song for Dionne Warwick, written by Burt Bacharach and Hal David, so it had that particular lineage behind it. But Steve Jordan got a hold of it and what you call Jordanized it. And it was a part of that first Hacienda CD called Ahorita. The song is Si Te Portas Mal. We're digging way back into the archives, so here he is, Mr. Steve Jordan.
Ven a entregarme todo.
much history behind that one. Si te portas mal, Steve Jordan. If you listen during the bridge of that song, you'll hear the high voice doing the high harmony. That's Steve Jordan's son, Steve Jr. I guess he was maybe like 10 or 11, maybe 12 years old at the time. So that's what he sounded like. Now, I saw him about 2 years ago at the Tejano Roots Hall of Fame and Museum. My gracious, he's a full-grown man now. So let's say he was 11 or so at the time, and that was 40 years ago. Then that would put him in his 50s. Well, doggone it, I hate to see where that puts me, but anyway, I'm just going to say that I'm frozen in time. How's that? Another little tidbit, and I remember this like it was yesterday. The Hacienda studio had not completely been finished yet. We were still doing some things on the walls and some upholstery and moving some furniture and things like that. It happened to be in the evening, like 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night. Carpenters were working late. I could not hear when I was mixing because of all the saws and all the hammering and all the construction going on. So I thought, I'll just take a break and go get something to eat. So I called up a buddy of mine. We went over to, at that time, a 24-hour restaurant in Corpus Christi called the You and I Restaurant. And we got to talking and laughing and eating and joking around there. I got back to the studio around 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. And I thought, man, I'm just going to have a lot of work to do here before 9 or 10 a.m. because that was the scheduled time where those involved were going to come listen to the mixing. We make a decision at that time. Some way, somehow, I just like magically got into the music, and it seemed like just time flew by. And I actually got finished with some time to spare. And luckily, I was told, man, the mixing is great. It's a go. Steve Jordan gave his thumbs up, and it was a done deal. That's the history from the very first Hacienda album called Ahorita by Steve Jordan. Let's go ahead and stay around that same time period for the time being. I know I'm talking about 1979 like it was just yesterday, but believe me, to me, it was just like yesterday. Maybe I am stuck in a time warp. But another band that Hacienda recorded back in the early days was a group from Kingsville, Texas called Showband USA. They were led by a guy named Robert Garcia, wrote most of the songs, and he actually wrote out the horn parts and the saxophone parts. It was a full orchestra band. And Showband USA, there was like 10 or 12 guys in that group, and they all read music. And I asked Robert how they did that. You know, mostly groups would come in and they would just perform, and Robert said, no, he had a minor in music and a major in psychology or something. He had like more degrees than a thermometer. He was just a smart guy, and he actually wrote down the music. And the guys in his band were smart guys too. They could read the music, and of course it was an impeccable performance by the lead singer, Mr. Paul Gaddisa. That guy did a great job. This is one of the songs from the early days. It's called Porque Ya Te Vas, written by Robert Garcia, Showband USA, performed by Mr. Paul Gaddisa.
El corazón sentido con tu amor porque ya te vas, y eso que hay en mí que es poco de ti también se va. Dime la razón porque ya te vas, dime la verdad porque te vas. Ay. Pienso en qué decir que te haga arrepentir antes de ir, que sin ti mi amor bien tiene que sufrir al verte ir. Dime la razón porque ya te vas, dime la verdad porque te vas. Tengo el corazón sentido con tu amor, porque ya te vas. Y eso que hay en mí, que es poco de ti, también se va. Dime la razón, porque ya te vas. Dime la verdad, porque te vas. Hey.
Showband USA. Fantastic group from the late 70s, early 80s. About 10 or 12 guys in that band. Try getting them all together for an album cover. That was pretty tough. But their music is ageless and timeless. Now, speaking of ageless and timeless, I know I harp about the past a lot, but I do love musical history, and I love the journey between then and now. So now I'm going to take the journey back a little bit further. Back before there was a CHR Records, before there was a Hacienda Records. This was back when I was actually performing with my band, and there was another young fella at the time from Corpus Christi also, who was a buddy of mine, and we would do some of the same shows. Now, this guy was just super multi-talented, and it would amaze me how, in the early days, when we go perform free for the radio stations and events, I would think to myself, man, this guy is so incredibly talented. I know why I'm performing for free, because, dang, I need the exposure. But this guy was already getting exposure. He had a couple of hit singles out. We were recording in Corpus Christi at the old Studio B on Chaparral Street. Yet he was able to lease his masters to a major label. He even did the music for a movie called Tilt that starred Brooke Shields. The fellow's name was Sam Neely, and we used a lot of the same band members between my recordings and his recordings. Ironically, some of the same band members who just stuck around and became what we call road dogs, studio musicians, happened to play on my wife's recordings as well. And she wasn't even born yet at this time. So I'm going to take you back to a really good friend of mine. He passed away not too long ago. It just left a hole in my heart because we've gone through so much together, both trying to make a career for ourselves. Of course, he stayed in the front lines performing, and I gravitated to the behind-the-scenes production end of it. And I got to produce a lot of his later recordings. But in the early years, what I'm going to play for you now is when we were both just doing back-to-back performing stuff. This guy's name, like I said before, Sam Neely. Check out his song. It's called Sadie, Take a Lover.
Finally learned what it's all about. I'm leaving here and I'm going south. I can't stop the smile from my mouth. You're coming with me, so come on now. Sadie, take a lover. Sadie, take me down with you. We can live on each other. I tell you what we should do, you know it. Grab a plane to Mexico. We can stay with some friends I know. Drink all night with old Crazy Joe until he finally makes us go and sing it. Sadie, take a lover. Sadie, take me down with you. We can live on each other. I tell you what we should do now. Woo! Lord, I know I'm a country Joe. Can't fill a book with the things I know. Still I'm willing to give it a go. We're moving down to Mexico. The wind is cheap and the wine is fine. I'm gonna be rich by saving my time. Still I don't care to make a dime, as long as you are mine. And sing it. Sadie, take a lover. Sadie, take me down.
the memories that one brings back Mr. Sam Neely, Sadie Take a Lover. What a great guy he was. I sure do miss him. I learned a lot from that man. Very gifted songwriter and performer, and he had a great ear for music. Before he passed away, he would come out to some of my wife's shows, offer her some encouragement, and was just genuinely supportive. In fact, speaking of that, I want to play one of Hilda, my wife's songs now. And ironically, we're going to bring it up to today. And yet these same players who played 40 years ago, I guess when they were in their late teens or early 20s, are now about my age in their 60s, and they're still performing music. Heck, so am I. I'm producing it more than I'm performing it, but I still love it. So up next, the music of Miss Hilda Lamas, one of my partners in our CHR venture. This song is off of her album called Love Me Alone. It's actually a 21st century message song called Take It Like a Woman. You heard that old phrase? Come on, take it like a man. Well, that was then. This is now. Take It Like a Woman.
Girl, when you call me up in the middle of the night, I know it ain't 'cause the world is right. You're missing him, despite of how we said goodbye. You don't wanna hear let that loser go. You sure don't wanna hear I told you so. But when we're living in a man's world, what I'm trying to tell you, girl, is take it like a woman. Take it like a woman. 'Cause a woman is strong. Take it like a woman. Take it like a woman. Be proud that you're moving on. You give your love the best you can, but when you get taken by a man, oh, take it like a woman. You have my shoulder to cry for a while, then I'm gonna need to see you smile this weekend. Let's try the single life phone for size. We'll get some Haagen-Dazs and maybe hit the bars. Forget about men 'cause they're from Mars. When you're ready to love again, you won't remember him. Take it like a woman. Take it like a woman. 'Cause a woman is strong. Take it like a woman. Take it like a woman. Be proud that you're moving on. You give your love the best you can, but when you get taken by a man, oh, take it like a woman. Some say we're fools for love, but that's not true. 'Cause when the going gets tough, we know what to do. Take it like a woman. 'Cause a woman is strong. Take it like a woman. Be proud that you're moving on. You give your love the best you can, but when you get taken by a man, oh, take it like a woman. Oh, take it like a woman. Yeah, yeah.
The lovely and talented Miss Hilda Lamas, CHR recording artist. That one was called Take It Like a Woman. Hilda also happens to be my lovely wife, for those who don't know. And of course, in this 21st century era that we're living in, it's no longer take it like a man, it's take it like a woman. That's probably apropos because as a man, I cry when I trim my fingernails. So I guess Hilda's right. A woman is strong. I'm going to have to arm wrestle her someday. And as we mentioned earlier, don't forget the products of CHR Records are available at Tejano Music Center, 704 West Shaw Avenue in Pasadena, Texas. They can fix you up with all the great merchandise of CHR Records. And not only CHR, but anybody who's doing anything in this business will have their products available at Tejano Music Center. So be sure to look them up. If you do not live near the Pasadena area, give them a call at 713-999-4TMC. TMC meaning Tejano Music Center. That number again, 713-989-4TMC. Let's keep it on update. Today's kind of stuff. CHR Records for a little bit. Second generation performer, Miss Marlisa Vela. I am so close to getting her entire album finished. Right now, we're working off her single, which I'm going to play in a little bit. It's called Dame. Marlisa wrote that. Now, she is done with her part on all 12 songs. So the task is up to me. I'm doing the final mixing and mastering of it. And I so want to let the cat out of the bag because I'm pretty much finished with the whole album except for a couple of songs. And I want so badly to play some sneak preview songs of what is to come on Marlisa Vela. In fact, not today, but next week, be listening for a surprise sneak peek of Marlisa Vela from her upcoming album. We've already chosen a title. It's called Aquí Estoy. Marlisa is taking photos right now under the tutelage of my wife, Hilda. My wife is not only a singer and a songwriter and a record label owner, but she also does graphics and photography and web designs. And she's a pretty darn good cook, too. So let's keep it current with Marlisa Vela, second generation performer. This one is called Dame.
Nuestro amor es terminado, pero no puedo olvidarme de tu amor. Me dijeron que besas otros labios y no quiero complicar tu situación. Tú sabes que te quiero, vida mía. Yo te quiero sin tener que compartir. Yo te espero y te extraño cada día. No quiero un momento estar sin ti. Dame, dame, dame tus caricias. Quiero un poquito de tu amor. Dame, dame, dame tus lindos besos. Quiero conquistar tu corazón. Quiero sin tener que compartir. Yo te espero y te extraño cada día. No quiero un momento estar sin ti. Dame, dame, dame tus caricias. Quiero un poquito de tu amor. Dame, dame, dame tus lindos besos. Quiero conquistar tu corazón.
The very talented Miss Marlisa Vela. That one was called Dame, from her upcoming CHR CD that'll be entitled Aquí Estoy. In the meantime, you just heard her single, which is called Dame. Let's keep it on second generation performers for just a little while. You heard Marlisa Vela, of course. She is the daughter of the late, great Ruben Vela. And ironically, somebody who I have not heard from in a long time called me up last night, woke me up out of the blue. He actually called me by mistake, but while we got to talking, we figured, well, hey, we haven't talked for a while, so let's just talk. I'm talking about Mr. Ricky Naranjo. I was sound asleep in my bed, 2 o'clock in the morning or so, phone rang. And I answered the phone, and there was a voice at the other end, and he said, this is Ricky Naranjo. And I said, well, this is Rick Garcia. And he said, oh, okay. So it led into a conversation, and we ended up staying on the phone for about 45 minutes or so. Just been a while since we'd seen each other. I had the awesome privilege of being Ricky Naranjo's producer for his first 10 albums, and of course I was his father's producer as well, Mr. Ruben Naranjo. And the last time I had spoken to Ricky, except for last night, was a couple of months ago at the South Texas Conjunto Association Awards, where Ricky Naranjo y Los Gamblers took home the Conjunto of the Year award. So a big congratulations to Ricky. Very well deserved. This one is from his Hacienda years. It's called La Media Naranja. Let's check it out.
Yo nací, a las 2 me bautizaron, a las 3 tuve una novia y a las 4 me casaron. A las 5 vi a mi suegra, a las 6 se me enfermó, y a las 7 se murió, y a las 8 la enterramos. A las 9 tuve luto, y a las 10 me lo quité, y a las 11 me fue el baile y con los gamblers bailé. Viva la media naranja, viva la naranja entera. Viva la media naranja, caramba que va por la carretera. Viva la media naranja, viva la naranja entera. Viva la media naranja, caramba que va por la carretera. Que va por la carretera. Viva la media naranja, viva la naranja entera. Viva la media naranja, caramba que va por la carretera.
Mr. Ricky Naranjo y Los Gamblers, La Media Naranja, a great song from back in a great day. This is a little bit off topic, but I have been reading a book about an entertainer that I'm a big fan of. I had the opportunity to work with him the last part of his life, Mr. Freddie Fender. He spent, I guess, from around 86 to, I guess, the last closing years of his life with us at Hacienda Records, where I had a chance to produce a lot of his great music. And the book that I'm reading is called Wasted Days and Wasted Nights, written by Freddie's daughter, Tammy Huerta. I have been talking with her, actually, as I'm reading the book, because it is so fascinating. And I certainly don't want to give away the entire message of the book, except that if you pick it up, you will not be able to put it down. It's called Wasted Days and Wasted Nights, the biography of Mr. Freddie Fender, as written by his daughter, Tammy Lorraine Huerta Fender. And of course, one of the songs we had the opportunities to re-record there at Hacienda was the song Wasted Days and Wasted Nights. And because it's fresh on my mind, and because the book is right in front of me, which I've been reading throughout the earlier part of the day, forgive me for indulging myself, but I would just like to hear a classic recording by a classic performer from San Benito, Texas. If you ever drive through San Benito on Highway 77, you're going to see a great big water tower. And on that water tower, it's got Freddie Fender's picture, and it says, San Benito, Texas, home of Freddie Fender. Wow. From a very humble beginning to a very climactic ending, this man, Freddie Fender, was just a superstar. Very good friend of mine. Helped me in a lot of ways, and I learned a lot from him. So we're going to hear Wasted Days and Wasted Nights, as sung by the late, great Mr. Freddie Fender.
Wasted days and wasted nights I have left for you behind, for you don't belong to me. Your heart belongs to someone else. Why should I keep loving you when I know that you're not true? And why should I call your name when you're to blame for making me blue? Don't you remember the day that you went away and left me? I was so lonely, praying for you only, my love. Why should I keep loving you when I know that you're not true? And why should I call your name when you're the blame for making me blue? Get down with it, brother. Why should I keep loving you when I know that you're not true? And why should I call your name when you're the blame for making me blue?
Mr. Freddie Fender, the late, great Freddie Fender. The pride and joy of the Rio Grande Valley, San Benito, Texas, to be exact. My name is Rick Garcia, and you are listening to the Rick Garcia Hour on MCR Radio. Before playing that song, Wasted Days and Wasted Nights, I was mentioning that I'm reading a book written by Tammy Lorraine Huerta Fender with the same title, Wasted Days and Wasted Nights, a biography about her dad, the late, great Freddie Fender. It is filled with great information and history and pictures, and I had no idea how big of a star this artist was. I mean, this was a guy that lived in Corpus Christi that would drive to the studio when I would record him, and he would bring me a Diet Coke and a Snicker bar, because that's just what we did, and he would take me riding on his motorcycle sometimes, and I just knew him as Freddie. He was not a braggadocious character. I mean, he never went into detail about all the all the things that he did, being on the Johnny Carson show and being on Hollywood Squares and all his television appearances and gold records and country music hall of fames and things like that. He never spoke about stuff like that. It was just pretty much always, hey, Vato, what song are we going to record today? And then we'd get busy recording. Man, I miss him. He provided great wisdom when I needed it the most. So I do highly recommend this book, Wasted Days and Wasted Nights, written by his daughter, Tammy Huerta. You can pick it up at Barnes & Nobles or wherever books are sold, or you can always go online and order it there as well. Now, this next artist, I never really had a relationship with, ironically, until I met him and spent some time with him at the funeral of Freddie Fender. And this guy actually had mega hits in his day in both the English and the Spanish markets. Mostly the English markets, of all things. Yet he was a Mexicano como nosotros. He recorded by the name of Sam the Sham, and his group was called Sam the Sham and the Pharaohs. Who can forget Wooly Bully? I mean, if you didn't grow up listening to Wooly Bully, you just plain old did not grow up in this country. And as I said, I never had a relationship with him until I met him at Freddie Fender's funeral. We had a chance to talk, and he told me some stories that I did not know, and I shared with him some stories that he did not know about Freddie Fender, and we had a great time talking about a great man. So I thought it fitting, right after Freddie Fender, let's go into Sam the Sham and the Pharaohs. Who can forget this classic? It's called Wooly Bully.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Who hasn't heard that a million times? Sam the Sham and the Pharaohs, the classic Wooly Bully. And as I said, I ran into him at the late, great Freddie Fender's funeral, and there Sam the Sham was, paying his last respects to a great man. We have been playing a lot of superstars from yesteryear, and that is part of the journey. But let's step it up now to this year. As you guys know by now, I am so proud of my new record label venture, CHR Records, and also all the artists coming on board. Every one of them so talented, and I am such a big fan. One of whom is a young man from the Rio Grande Valley, formerly the accordionist for Los Fantasmas del Valle, Mr. Rodney Rodriguez. Now he's no longer a fantasma, he is a cucuy. Their debut CHR album is called Me Sigo de Frente. That one is available wherever music is sold. In fact, all the great recording artists of CHR Records are available at iTunes, Amazon, Google Play, Spotify, wherever digital music is sold and wherever physical CDs are sold as well. I recommend Tejano Music Center. I have been on their website and I have seen some really cool things there. They really know their stuff. They're located in Pasadena, Texas. Be sure to check them out if you're near that area. If not, please call them at 713-999-4TMC. That's the number 4, the letter TMC. So as I said earlier, we're going to check out a little bit of Los Cucuys, the Mr. Rodney Rodriguez. This one is called Necesito Tu Amor. Los Cucuys, Mr. Rodney Rodriguez, from their CHR album Me Sigo de Frente. Want to mention also to be sure and visit us online at chrrecords.com. Also visit us on Facebook. That's facebook.com/CHRrecords. Be sure and leave us your comments. Tell us what you think about our artists. We would love to hear from you. And speaking of websites, I'm checking out the Mas Chingon website, MCR Radio, the People Station, MCR Radio, and CHR Records, a win-win combination. They've got some tremendous programming, and I'm not just saying that because they're running the Rick Garcia Hour. They've got the San Antonio Oldies Radio Show, and of course my good buddy, the Boogeyman, has got a show, Boogie Mania. Be sure to check him out. And of course, the Rick Garcia Hour. Thanks for checking me out as well. We're going to continue with some CHR recording artists. This group is called Los Marcelas. And talking about the website of Mas Chingon Radio, there is a picture of Los Marcelas on their website, and it says, pre-order today. Puro Texas Conjunto. So yes, we invite you to do that. Pre-order that album. It should be out very, very soon. Los Marceles. The song I'm going to play from that album is called Cinco Años, 20 Días. If you like that one, you're going to like the whole album. Pre-order it now at the website of Más Chingón Radio. Here they are, Los Marceles. Cinco Años, 20 Días. My name is Rick Garcia, and you are listening to the Rick Garcia Hour, right here on MCR Radio. Man, it seems like we just get started, and before you know it, it's time to pack them up and move along. Do you remember that old Carol Burnett song she would sing at the end of her show? Seems we just get started, and before you know it, comes the time we have to say so long. Yes, I'm a very promising singer, and every time I sing, they make me promise to stop. I'm sure today is no exception. But we've got time for one or two more songs. Let's close it out with some old school one more time, reaching way back. Although I've got to level with you, to me it does not seem like way back at all. I can remember these days like it was yesterday. So up next, let's hear Los Chachos de Chacha Jimenez. This one is called Noches Eternas.
Eternas son mis noches, que lenta es mi agonía, que triste es vida mía, vivir pensando en ti. Porque sin la esperanza vivir es un tormento, y tú en mi pensamiento agrandas mi sufrir. Que largas son las horas, que lento es mi desvelo, que grande desconsuelo pensar que te perdí. Quisiera yo olvidarte, borrarte de mis sueños, pero es en vano empeño que yo te olvide a ti. hechicera, un día dijiste adiós. Te fuiste para siempre, volaste de mi lado y solo me has dejado recuerdos de tu amor. Qué eternas son mis noches, qué lenta es mi agonía, qué triste es vida mía vivir pensando en ti. Porque sin la esperanza vivir es un tormento y tú en mi pensamiento agrandas mi sufrir.
Well, you heard some old school there, Los Chachos. An oldie but a goodie. So let's close it out with a newie but a gooey. One of my favorite ladies walking on this planet right now, Miss Linda Escobar, the queen of conjunto music. And I've had the honor to produce her music for so many years. This one is her latest one off of her latest album, entitled Vi una nube. The song we're going to hear as we say goodbye is called El Gallo Tuerto. My name is Rick Garcia, and we'll see you next time on The Rick Garcia Hour on MCR Radio.
Mi gallo tuerto, ¿qué será? De mi gallina se murió. Mi gallo tuerto, ¿qué será? De mi gallina a las 4 de la mañana. Que cantaba en la cocina. A las 4 de la mañana. Que cantaba en la cocina. Cocoroyo, cantaba el gallo, cocoroyo. A las gallinas, cocoroyo. Cantaba el gallo, cocoroyo. Chimichagua en el barco se murió, lo traje de Chimichagua en el barco se murió, pobre mi gallito tuerto, a las 4 se murió y ahora están llorando todititas las gallinas. Cocoroyo, cantaba el gallo, cocoroyo, a las gallinas, cocoroyo, cantaba el gallo, cocoroyo. Las gallinas.
Listening to the Rick Garcia Hour on Mas Chingon Radio, MCR. Join us every week at the same time for another edition as we stroll up and down 5 decades of memories and making new ones at the same time. My name is Rick Garcia. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.